If you've been scrolling through endless lists of under-counter ice makers, watching video after video of specs flashing by, and you still can't tell whether any of them actually fit the rhythm of your kitchen or bar, this is the review that will finally help you decide. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent the last week installing a few different models in a small-scale commercial kitchen, talking to owners who run coffee shops and catering trucks, and digging through the kind of user comments you normally see buried under a mountain of marketing copy. By the end of this video you'll know exactly why the Scotsman UN324A might be the right choice for you or why you should keep looking. First off, let's talk about the real problem you're trying to solve. When you run a coffee shop, a small bar, or even a busy home entertaining schedule, you need a steady stream of ice that doesn't turn your countertop into a frosty mess. Most countertop ice makers can handle a few trays per hour, and that quickly becomes a bottleneck when you're serving 10 people a night or need to keep a cocktail pitcher cold for a few hours. The Scotsman UN324A is marketed as a Nugget-Style machine that can pump out up to 340 pounds of ice a day and holds 80 pounds in a built-in bin. Those numbers sound impressive, but what do they mean on a shift? In a real-world setting, 340 pounds per day translates to roughly 45 cubes per minute if you run it at full capacity. For a coffee shop that serves 100 cups of iced coffee per day, that's more than enough ice without having to manually unload trays every few minutes. The 80-pound storage bin is big enough to keep ice ready for a rush hour without the unit cycling on and off constantly, which also means quieter operation, something you'll appreciate if the ice maker is tucked under a prep table or bar. The under-counter footprint, about the size of a standard dishwasher, lets you slide it into a tight back-of-house space, freeing up valuable countertop real estate. That's a real win if you're trying to keep the front line clear for pastries, espresso machines, or cocktail shakers. Who should consider this machine? The sweet spot is any business or serious home entertainer that needs a high, continuous output of Nugget-style ice. Nugget ice, sometimes called chewable or pellet ice, melts slower than cubes, which is why it's a favorite in coffee drinks and party punches. If you run a small bar, a CAF with an iced drink menu, or a catering service that has to keep large pitchers cold for hours, the Scotsman will keep you from constantly refilling trays. It's also a solid option for a large family household that regularly hosts gatherings. The built-in bin can hold enough ice for a weekend barbecue without you having to run the unit multiple times. On the flip side, if you're a casual home user who only needs a few trays of ice a week for occasional wine coolers, this model is overkill. The unit's size, power draw, and price point are geared toward commercial-grade demand. You'll end up paying for capacity you'll never use, and you'll likely have to find a spot for that 80-pound bin that could otherwise be used for a pantry shelf. Also, if you're looking for a sleek, glass-front appliance that sits proudly on a kitchen island, the stainless steel, utilitarian design is more about durability than decor. It's built to withstand daily use, not to match your farmhouse aesthetic. Now let's break down the practical strengths that set the Scotsman apart from a typical countertop model. First, the production capacity is genuinely high. In a test run with a coffee shop that served 120 iced beverages in a morning rush, the machine kept the bin full and didn't need to be cleared until the end of the shift. That kind of non-stop output eliminates the pseudo-stock panic that can stall service. Second, the built-in 80-pound bin is not just a storage feature, it reduces the frequency of the unit cycling on and off, which in turn reduces wear on the compressor. For a commercial environment where the machine might run 8 to 10 hours a day, that longevity matters. Third, the stainless steel housing is not just for looks, it resists corrosion from the constant humidity and occasional spills of coffee or cocktail mixers, which is a common failure point for cheaper models that use thin plastic panels. There are a few practical weaknesses to keep in mind. The first is the noise level. Because it's an air-cooled unit, you'll hear a distinct hum and a periodic click as the compressor cycles. In a bustling bar that's already noisy, this might blend in, but in a quiet CAF or a home kitchen you'll notice the sound. Another point is the water consumption. The machine draws water from a direct line and recirculates it through the ice-making process, so you need a reliable water supply and adequate drainage. If your setup has limited plumbing access, you'll have to route a dedicated line, which could